Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of Entrepreneurship Lab. This is your host, Nevena Bajalets, welcoming you. And if you're an entrepreneur, for sure you want to learn more about marketing. And maybe you've been even in a situation to wonder why your marketing is not working. And my guest today is coming to us, and she is a performance coach. She's an author and marketing and customer experience expert, and she will help us and tell us 5 reasons why your marketing is not working. So please help me welcome Deirdre Martin. Hi, Deirdre. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Nevena. Thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here.
Yes, pleasure is absolutely mine. And I love talking about marketing. Marketing is such an important part of growing a business. And you're someone who resigned corporation. You have a lot of experience in marketing in corporations, and you actually build a successful business, consultancy and coaching business in a very short period of time. So when I met you, I was very excited to hear your story, actually to share your story with my listeners, and really help them by using a little bit of your knowledge and experience. And today we're going to talk specifically about marketing. So tell us a little bit your background first, your story, maybe some, things about marketing that were breakthrough things for you. And then we're going to move on to those 5 specific reasons.
Okay, well, I suppose my story started 20 years ago when I joined the bank. I worked in banking for 20 years, 21 years, 20 years up until December of 2020, when the bank I was working for closed in the town where I was based, and I was a bank manager there. So what you might not realize about the financial services sector is that even though they have huge and major marketing departments, what actually happens is on the ground, the bank manager and the people on the ground, they need to build their brand awareness in their local community so that people get to know, like, and trust them and come and do business with them. So even though I wasn't self-employed for the last 21 years, I had, unbeknownst to myself, been doing lots of marketing. And I'd also been president of a networking group, and that particular group was one that I'd helped, a franchise that I'd helped to found in my local community. And part of founding that, again, meant creating brand awareness, telling people what we were about and why they should join. So lo and behold, I soon realized that, what am I doing here? I'm actually marketing. So it's very interesting because, even when you work in a large corporate, whether you're self-employed or you're an employee, when you're putting yourself out there and you're networking with people, that's all marketing, right? You're marketing yourself. You're telling people about you and how you can help them. Very much so.
Yes, and I think sometimes we don't realize, and I'm glad that you today we're going to give us some steps and maybe some mistakes to avoid. But sometimes we don't realize that actually we have to get out there. We have to speak about our brand, about our services. And one of the mistakes I maybe did at the beginning, because I wasn't aware how to get clients. And I see entrepreneurs, they expect that clients will come to them. And yes, we should do marketing, we should do social media and everything, but people will not just magically come to you if they don't trust you and they don't know your brand. So you have to go out there and really speak to them and ask them questions, and then say, hey, I can help you solve those problems with my services or with my products. And I think that was really like a breakthrough for me, that nobody told me. It was so simple, but once I realized, everything changed and my business started scaling so fast. So this was my experience.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, we're all put on this earth to serve a purpose, right? And it could be to do something in life or to share something about what you do and how you help people to in some way improve the world, right? Whether we realize it or not, that's actually why we're all here. And part of your marketing is telling that story, and marketing, and this comes back to customer experience. So with my customer experience hat on here, Nevena, when I was starting my business, I needed to set it up in a way where it was absolutely customer focused, because my business is about helping people with their customer experience. That includes the customer journey. And so, for your marketing to be effective, one of the things is to make sure that your brand is solid, that you've got really clear brand guidelines, and that you have an established brand identity. And that's very much around, what's your brand's purpose? What's your brand's mission? Your vision and your values, and all of those things. When you're clear on those things, well, that's the kind of thing you can talk about in your marketing, because marketing is actually simply telling your brand's story.
Yes.
So it's super exciting when you're clear on those things, and then you can take it to the marketing phase, and then really from a customer experience aspect, once you get the marketing down, then it's the sales stage, and they're all so interlinked. And a lot of people confuse branding and marketing. They confuse marketing and sales, but they're totally different things. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, they're connected and they're all needed, but they're completely different areas of building a business. And we need skills and we need clarity for each one of those. And I love how you explained that as well.
Yeah, totally. So today, and thank you for inviting me here, I'm going to share with you some of the 5 mistakes that I've seen so many businesses make when it comes to their marketing. And the very first one, and I like to use the term journey, right? Because when a client engages with you, they engage with you to go on a transformation. So they're like, this is where they're at now, but the reason they're employing you, be it for a product or a service offering, is so that they get from where they are now to where they want to be. So they have a kind of a successful an aspiration that they want to transform and become. So what often happens in businesses is that business owners think that the customer journey that they've created is actually about them and their business, but it's not. What happens is when they think like that, it's all about processes, and it's about the systems, and it's about the technology. And often what they end up doing is they invest so much money in getting all of those things right. And don't get me wrong, they are important, but they spend so much money and time and effort getting those things right without ever actually asking the customer, are those the things that they want or need? So when they do that as well, and when they introduce so many systems and so much automation, often what happens is they lose the personal connection. And it's very interesting, in the trends that seem to be emerging in 2022 around customer journeys, one of the big things is to pull back a little bit from the automation actually, and to focus more on the connection and the relationship, because customer experience and marketing, and your brand, it is actually about emotion as well. And it's about realizing what types of emotion your customers experience. It's about, making your journey so smooth and effortless that your clients don't have to jump through hoops or over hurdles or whatever it might be. And when you've got the journey very smooth, and when you can connect with them on an emotional level, the sum of those two things is what makes the experience really good. So if you talk about your journey, or if you set your journey up where it's all just focused on your business, well, then your clients are not going to see the benefit of that. And so where the journey is entirely about you, if you're not doing what you say on the tin, if you're making them jump through hoops or hurdles, you've lost them. That's mistake number 1.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yes, I cannot wait to hear the rest. Let's jump on the number 2.
Okay, so mistake number 2 is you make yourself the hero of the story instead of the client being the hero of your story, right? So this is the second most common mistake I see businesses make. And what they do is they go onto their website and they share all the marvelous things about themselves. And they talk about, they do this on their captions as well in social media posts. They talk about themselves. They do it on their emails. They do it everywhere. They make themselves the hero of the story. They talk about their expertise, their years of experience in business. They talk about, some of the features of what they offer, but they don't talk about the customer. They forget to talk about the problems that the customers are experiencing. They forget to show empathy in terms of how they get and understand what it is that the customers are experiencing. They don't talk about where the customer wants to get to. And they don't talk about how they can help them get there. So what ends up happening is the customer comes across their website, they come across their social media, or they see their emails, and they don't stop to read it because it doesn't resonate with them. So there's a fantastic book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I don't know if have you read it, Nevena? No,
but you actually recommended me, so I'm looking forward to read it.
Yeah, it's a super book, and Donald Miller is quite famous famous author. He's written multiple books and just has a new release out now as well called Hero on a Mission. But it's the book Building a Story Brand. It's fantastic. It's got this 7-step framework, which really helps you step into storytelling. And what I love about how Donald Miller explains it is, if you were watching a movie and, if you're watching a movie, and let's imagine you're watching The Notebook, or you're watching Jason Bourne and the Bourne Identity, or you're watching Star Wars, there's always a lead character who's the hero of the story. And then there's like somebody who's like a guide, it's their sidekick, and their sidekick is helping the lead character to overcome a problem. And it's exactly the same in your business, because your customer is the lead character, they're the hero, and you're the sidekick helping them transform from where they are now to where they want to get to. So you're just like simply guiding them along the way. That's what it's all about. When you talk to your customers that way in your communications and in your marketing, they're going to be like, hey, they're talking to me. I totally get it. And they're going to stop scrolling and pay attention.
I love it. And I think sometimes people also don't believe. They are like, okay, you're a coach, you get success, but until they find someone who is relatable to them. So let's say they're a single mom and you have someone who's your client who is also a single mom, you can say, I have another client. Or if you have a client who is in a similar area, I don't know, I work with some coaches as well. And then I share their story. It's different to have a business where you have a product or service. So in any way that you're helping, I think when you share success stories of people you work with or what people achieve through using your services, like you said, then people relate. They say, oh, this person is similar like me. Look, what did they achieve? I'm going to join their product, program, or I will buy their product because this product will help me. This book will help me. So I think that's about testimonials are there to actually, like you said, show other heroes and help that person also be your next success story.
100%. And it's a fantastic marketing tool as well to use testimonials, because that's social proof. There's fantastic statistics around this. Don't ask me to quote what they are, but I have come across them recently enough, where somebody says, people will pay more attention to what somebody says about you than what you say about yourself. So, yeah. When you are promoting yourself or your offers or whatever, it's really important that you include testimonials. And I suppose what you were talking about there are case studies, and highlighting case studies to show people this was the problem they experienced. Yeah. This was how I helped them to overcome it. And this is where they are now. So when you tell that story in a story format, it helps people imagine themselves being in that story so they can see. And one of the other things, Nevada, that I find with a lot of business owners, depending on the types of products or services that they offer, is that actually they don't a lot of the problems that they solve, their clients aren't aware that they have those problems that need solving. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
And so by sharing messages like that, and case studies like that, it helps your ideal clients to be able to put themselves in that picture and see how the whole story unfolds. And so, yeah, those case stories, that's a fantastic way to do it.
Yes. And I also say to my clients, we always work on this, what potential problems these people might have, because, and also it's in the way that when I create with my clients something called audio logo, where they will in one sentence explain what they do, but actually not just say I'm an accountant or I'm a coach, but they really say who is typically their client, what problems are they experiencing, and how do they help them with some unique methodology or unique method and formula. And what helps these people is realizing, wait, I have the same problem. For example, you would say typically, I help business owners and entrepreneurs grow, scale their business, or resolve, grow their marketing, visibility, whatever it is, because they will say, wait, I have the same problem. So I think, like you said, using the correct words and emphasizing on the problems help people identify and say, I have the same problem. Wow, this product or this service can help me solve that.
100%. I call that a one-liner, or your I help statement. Yeah. And in that same book, the one Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, he actually shows you a framework with how to create that one-liner. It's really effective. And I find, you can place your one-liner on your website. You can have it in your email copy. You can have it on your social media captions. You can have it on your About You section in your bio. There's so many places you can put it. It's very impactful, and it's such a short thing to have. But you need to, there's a formula. Once you have the formula down, it's very easy to do it then.
Yes, right? yes. Excellent. So let's move on. What is number three? What's the next reason why marketing might not be working?
Okay, so this one is something that Seth Godin, if you're familiar with him, he's like a marketing guru, an international marketing guru. And he talks in his books and online and in his marketing programs about consistency and persistency. So mistake number 3 is you are not being consistent and persistent with your marketing. And so many business owners do this. And a client of mine, she's a photographer. She's fantastic and she's exceptional at what she does. But she spends so much time taking photographs of people that she doesn't spend, or she used not to spend a whole lot of time, I should say, on her marketing. So she didn't really have a plan for her marketing. She didn't have a schedule for, when she might show up on social media. She didn't have an email list. She had nothing like that. So what was happening was about once every 6 weeks, she would put up a post on social media. And then she'd sit back and she would wait for clients to call or come knocking on her door. And what she said herself and openly admitted it was she was waiting.
Yes.
And waiting and waiting. And, and it just went on. And she was like, why is my business not growing? Why are people not coming to me? And, her images were spectacular on social media. I mean, oh my God, she's a photographer, say no more, right? So her social media page, it looked phenomenal. But the other thing that was happening was she was making herself the hero of the story, as opposed to her lead characters being her clients being the hero of the story in her captions. So even though she was posting about once every 6 weeks, her captions weren't resonating with her ideal clients either. So there was two kind of things going wrong for this particular client. And so now she has a content plan, and she's very busy. She's always out photographing, so she uses a content creator to help her manage that. But she creates the plan herself and has somebody to help her to do that. And the other thing was, and I see this as well with your website. A lot of people create a website and it's like a brochure, and then they never look at it again. They don't update it. They don't do anything with it. And websites can go very stale very quickly. So it is about being consistent with it, and whether you update it with a blog or, even looking at your social media pages every so often and saying, okay, do I need to refresh these? Is my message still on point? Is there something here that's not clear if my ideal clients land here? And then it's about showing up on all of those places with intent, right? And the best way to achieve success and sales in business is to be consistent and persistent. You know, when you do that, what happens is people get to know, like, and trust you. Okay. And anybody who's listening, if you have heard any marketing podcast or read any marketing books or read anything about growing on social media, it is all about those know, like, and trust factors. And, you know, here's the thing: when you show up really regularly, and you add value, you inspire people, you inform them, and even entertain them, they're going to come back for more, because they're like, oh, I got something from this, you know. And like, I've got one follower who regularly messages me, and she's like, oh my God, Deirdre, I was so stressed today, and, you know, I read your post and I went to bed and I was dreaming about what my life might look like if I achieve all my goals. She was like, I went to bed smiling. And I'm like, oh my God, that just makes it so worthwhile when somebody gives you feedback like that, you know. Or I sent an email the other day and somebody replied to me with an email, and I got a fantastic response back. I loved your email today. It got me fired up. I'm ready to go. And so, you know, whether you bring that energy or the positivity or whatever it might be to motivate people, that's what you want. It's to show up with intent. And, you know, knowing what that intention is going to be will help you grow your business. That's what helps you scale. And as well, when you show up and your messaging is about your clients, when you're posting about them instead of yourself, you can scale in a sustainable way. And that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's jump. We have 4 and 5 to cover. So what are 2 more reasons that mistakes that we want to avoid?
Okay, so number 4 is you don't have a sales funnel. Now, if any of your listeners are thinking, oh my gosh, what's a sales funnel? A sales funnel is a proven technique that helps businesses to generate leads. It helps you close leads, and overall, and best of all, it helps you to increase revenue for your business. So a sales funnel is where you attract clients at the discovery phase. So somebody is at home and they go, I need a new dress, because I'm going somewhere. So they go online and they Google it and they think, okay, where am I going to get a dress, right? So that's the discovery phases. They have an awareness, they need something. Discovery is like, now I need to do something about it. So they start to Google, where can they get their problem solved? So what you want to do is show up. Okay, you need to show up. If you're consistent and persistent, when somebody puts something into Google, they're going to find you. If you're using the words and the terms that they use when they go looking for you, they're going to find you. So here's what happens with sales funnels. When people become aware of what a sales funnel is, the first thing that happens is they think, oh my gosh, that's a big mountain, and how am I going to be able to climb that? There's so much work in pulling together a sales funnel. The thing is, when you pull together the sales funnel, yes, it takes time to do it at the outset, but if you've got 5 people that you're doing this for manually, it's taking you a lot of time. And imagine if you could put something out there that 100 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 people could automatically go through, where you're automatically offering them your services. How much more scalable is that than manually doing something for 5 people? It might take you a day or a couple of days to pull together what you need in a sales funnel. But I always say to my clients, how do you eat an elephant? In bite-sized chunks. Do one little bit today, make it a goal to get a sales funnel in place if you haven't done one before. So, you know, think it through, think about the steps that you want. The typical ones that I recommend, Nevena, are that you start with a lead generator or a lead magnet. And then you build a landing page, so a registration page or an opt-in page, and then you've got a sequence of 5 or 6 emails that lead to a sales offer. And then if they don't buy, they move into a nurture sequence. And that's the typical structure that I recommend for a sales funnel. So as I say, some of the other mistakes that with sales funnels are that they get caught up too much in what their clients actually want from them. And so they end up listing loads of needs and desires instead of explicitly referring to the main problem and the main solution that they can offer. And then something else, and this is a really bugbearer of mine, they use 3-letter abbreviations, you know, those acronyms like TLAs, as I call them. Yeah. People don't understand your language, okay? And, you know, unless they've been a client for a long time and they're acclimatized to how you do things, how you show up, the things you say, when you send your emails, when you post your posts and all that sort of stuff, they're not familiar with you yet. So don't use jargon, speak plain English, and keep the language very simple in your sales funnels. Then the final thing is, and this is very interesting, and it comes back to why it's important to have the language very simple, is that the average reading age of the global population is that of a 12-year-old. So keep your sentences short in your emails, use simple words, and try not to have very, very long emails for your sales emails. Your nurture emails can be as long as you want them to be, but your sales emails, try to keep them quite short.
Yeah.
So that's number 4. And number 5, and this comes back to what I'm talking about, is the clients that don't buy. This mistake happens so often. Do not ignore the clients that don't buy. People ignore them. When they say, no, I'm not ready to buy yet, that's okay. Because maybe if it's not the right time for them to work with you or to buy from you just now, that's a good thing. Because if they recognize that, well, then they can wait until they are ready. Because what regularly happens from a customer experience aspect is that people come on board with you and, you know, their headspace isn't right. And maybe if you're a mindset coach, that's a good thing. Or maybe if you're a confidence coach, that's a good thing. But if you're taking your clients on a transformation from A to B, and they're not ready, well, if they're not ready, they're less likely going to hit B, no matter what you do. And in a lot of businesses, clients have to take steps and actions themselves, right? But if their headspace isn't right, that's okay. The moral of my story is, you know, it's okay if a client says no, but when you nurture them, eventually when they're ready, they will say yes. And interestingly, you know, about 3% of the population is ready to buy.
Yes.
That's it, only 3%.
Only 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem, the problem I think that I see entrepreneurs and my clients is that when they start working with me, they were only focusing on those 3. And I'm like, we cannot ignore the rest. Yes, there's 30% who will never buy from you, but there is 60, 70% that we have to focus how we can warm them up. And like you said, set a follow-up system, how we're going to follow up, nurture them so they build trust. And because people need time to build trust. They're overwhelmed with information, with offers every single day on social media, and so they need to get to know you. Sometimes it's simply that. So they need to build trust, and I love it, like you said, be ready, and then it's going to be a perfect match for you as well.
Exactly. And what's so interesting about that is existing clients and prospect clients, 70% of clients will leave you if they don't feel valued. And, you know, there's a few examples I can give. I've got a business coach, and my business coach has had a client who's been on her email list for 10 years. And this year she finally went ahead and bought. She wasn't ready up until now, you know, and that's okay. And I had a client, I did a launch last year for my group program, and, you know, somebody won one. I did a giveaway on a challenge that I had. Somebody won that. And she wasn't ready to buy then. You know, she got a VIP session with me. We had an amazing session. I didn't try to sell her anything on the session because she told me she's not ready right now. That's okay. But here we were in January, and she's like, Deirdre, I'm ready now. I want to work with you. How do I do that? You know, but that's okay. I've been nurturing her all along, and so many other clients. Yes. And it is so important. And I love those statistics. Like, yes, you're right. 30% of people are not ready to buy from you. You have to nurture those other 60. And Jeff Walker, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's an American guy. He's written the book Launch, and he's got a system that he calls PLF, or Product Launch Form. Now, one of the things that he talks about is, you know, it's like the 80-20 rule. You know, when you go to the market with anything, you know, only 20% of the market is ready to buy, but 20% of 20% of 20% of 20% will buy your highest ticket offer. So again, it's about it's about understanding what is the messaging in each of those offers and talking about your clients, being consistent, persistent, having the funnel to take them through and really thinking through the whole process of your messaging and your marketing and how you can help people and how you can transform them in a way that they come out a different person at the other end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Oh, what an incredible interview. So much to write down, so many notes to take. And I'm pretty sure everyone enjoyed and you're loving this episode. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure to put a link so you can connect with Deirdre. And her book is coming out this February. She's one of the authors. So we're going to make sure we put a link for that once it's available, and make sure to connect, follow her on social media, go out and get them. She gives a lot of value. Reach out if you have any questions and you would like her to help on your entrepreneurship journey. So Deirdre, thank you so much for being here. It was really a pleasure. And thank you for so much information you have given us.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for listening.
Yes, we want to thank you all for listening. You're incredible. Make sure to subscribe, download, save, and share this episode so others can benefit as well. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next episode.